and welcome to Family Tree Talk. This is the first episode of our second year. We might not make it through the whole of this year, but we've managed 1 year of Family Tree Talk podcast, and we've had a lot of fun, haven't we?
We have. What do you mean we won't make it through? I think we will.
Well, I think we will, but I don't want to kind of make any grand statements. Anyway, who are we?
We are Family Tree Talk, and you are Helen Tovey, editor of Family Tree magazine, an all-round Family Tree guru. And I'm Nathan Ward, a bumbling idiot in the world of family history.
Well, my description would be completely different. Mine would be, I'm Helen Tovey, editor of Family Tree, and who has hit and miss knowledge, knows some things, is always astounded how much more there is to know about family history. It's a massive topic. And you're Nathan Ward, who's just made masses of progress in your first year of family history. And what's amazingly, you know exactly the date you started doing family history. That's just incredible, isn't it? Most people don't know. Most people kind of wander into the topic, whereas you just like wham, bam, slam, just started.
Yeah. Well, it's been chronicled, hasn't it? So,
It has been chronicled. Yeah, amazing. In our little podcast. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I've started my process of what I spoke about last week about carrying on with my tree. So, talk about that. I think you've got a few things you want to talk about as well.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking, because it's getting to like wintry time of year, and we were talking about it saying you were saying actually at the minute, just in the lead up to Christmas, it's pretty busy. But through the winter months, we do get a bit more time to be indoors doing things. So I was thinking old handwriting would be a great topic, because there are some free online learn to read old handwriting courses people can do. So that's pretty cool. So that could be a little winter project somebody might like to take on.
Yeah.
We could take it on. We could even try and do a bit.
Well, it's a big challenge for me. I mean, I can barely read people's handwriting anyway, but old handwriting just seems it's a world in its own right, isn't it? It's crazy.
It's increasingly, it's going to get debatable, depending on how much of an AI fan you are, whether it's even a skill worth mastering, because AI is going to get so good at it. But unless you have any kind of human assessors, then we could all be being maybe a little bit too trusting, and we don't want to hand over the ability to decipher these old records to the computer and just be ill-equipped ourselves, do we?
Well, definitely not. I mean, who knows how good AI is going to get, but I've literally yesterday found an example where the transcript was bonkers compared to what was actually on the page. So I'll talk about it a bit more later, but I've been going again, trying to get back generations and I'm trying to fill out all my third great grandparents, which I don't like that phrase. It's not my terminology. I won't use that, but that's what it says on Ancestry. So I've got gaps. So I'm going back and filling them, and I'm on the Savile line at the moment, which I think I was on a bit before, but now
I haven't heard this anymore. I don't remember it.
Have you not? All right. Okay. So it's my nana's line. So my mum's mum. And I've got lots to say about that, but the interesting thing what you're talking about now is I've got so far back. I've actually found my third great grandparent, George Corliss Savile, and in doing that, I've stumbled upon his dad. But the transcript for his dad says his name isn't Savile, it's Laville, which I love. I was like, well, that's a really cool name. But obviously, it's just a transcript error. So AI has decided it's Laville.
Interesting. And that's interesting as well, that AI is making the same classic error that humans have made forever. And there's always been this, it's like a kind of like an urban myth story, but it does happen quite a lot in people's family history. So they'll be bumbling along and suddenly they go, oh, I've got an ancestor who was a lawyer. And so suddenly you think you've got, whoa, I've got some money in the family. I've got someone with a bit of education perhaps. But then it is just that classic SL copperplate, people getting it muddled up. And that ancestor is actually a sawyer. So working in wood. So it's funny that AI is making the same mistakes that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's AI, unless it is somebody that has typed it up and got it wrong. But
well, it could be. Depends. Yeah, it could be somebody that could just be an old school mistake of a human doing that, and that's why it's worth keeping our wits about us and thinking. Like the more you know about the area where they live, blah blah blah. You've got the map. You've got a timeline. You haven't just got one data point. You've got lots of information about them. Then when they suddenly go from being like a joiner, and then suddenly the next census they're a lawyer, you think, probably they're not. Maybe.
yeah,
So it's all
And
that
that could massively confuse you as well, couldn't it? That could actually put you off. If you're not being savvy, you could be like, well, it must be a completely different person, even though lots of information matches.
very good point.
I like having a surname Laville, though. It's
Good. Yeah.
French.
Well, even is it Savile then?
Yeah.
Hmm. So who knows where that comes from? Like place name origin, like Seville? I don't know. That's another question for another day. Stick with handwriting for today.
Yes, let's.
Yeah. So, I can remember when you started out, and when each of us start out, and when you watch Who Do You Think You Are, and you watch someone getting faced with a document, it can be a pretty regular document, like a birth, marriage, or death certificate in the census or anything like that. And if you're not familiar with these documents, they can look really flummoxing because you just see scrawls of old handwriting. But you are way beyond that stage, aren't you? Like when you're faced with those documents, you completely can navigate your way around it and find out what's what.
I can navigate around it, but like again, having gone off on lots of rabbit holes and just come back to trying to get backwards, I was straight into the census. And as soon as you open the census, you are like say presented with a random person's handwriting, and it is kind of like, oh my God, where's my ancestor? It is hard to
Mm.
like just focus in and find it straight away. So I am calmer and I do find them all, but it is hard work.
Hmm. So what sort of thing do you do to help you um, work out what's happening on the page?
I just look for the name, really.
Yeah.
So, sometimes obviously there's multiple people with the same name, and you're just looking for common ground within your own tree, things that you actually know about.
Mm.
And then it is like checking the details of like the address and their age, etc. Is that what
Mm.
you mean?
That's what I mean. And then, so I do that. And then, so the name is kind of the easiest fact to find on the page, isn't it? Because you know what you're looking for. So when you see something, you go, aha, that is the name, even though it doesn't look exactly how I thought it was going to look, that is the name. Whereas potentially, I've definitely found this on numerous occasions trying to decipher the address because I don't know what the address is going to be necessarily. Then I'm looking at it going, is that North Street or Park Street? And it can be quite different words. My brain, it can be quite a lot of variation. You think there shouldn't be any character similarities between the words like North and Park, but I definitely have got those two words muddled up in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So that can be trickier to find out. So I do lots of like paging backwards and forwards, trying to see if it was written more clearly, maybe, another entry further down the street. But, yeah.
Yeah. I do find the address the harder part to find, like you're saying, because it's like it's not paraphrased, is it? But because you're in a certain area, they get a little bit sloppy with it, don't they? And
I
it's just
think that, yeah, you're right.
the smallest detail, and like you say, the best way is to scroll back and find it and see what matches.
Mm. And
Mm.
I've definitely, I think you have hit the nail on the head why this works then. So what I do sometimes do is I'll skip back to the first page of that census piece and it will have a little description, the enumerator's description saying, I walked down South Street and then I turned left into Boggins Lane or whatever, and it goes like that, talking his route. And his handwriting there is often really helpful. And that, what you've just said, is why, is because he's got his new exercise fresh piece of paper head on and he's doing his best handwriting. But as the houses go by, he gets sloppy. He's like, yada, yada.
Yeah,
North
been on this
Street.
space before.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes, and I can't give an example, but I feel like I look at the street name or the street address, and it is just like a lot of numbers and letters almost, as opposed to a full sentence. So like 100th, first. Like it just looks like almost coordinates. It's not, but it's just because it's the basic details for that particular house as opposed to the full address.
Mm.
And that's what you said about having to scroll back and find it elsewhere, because maybe the first couple of entries it's actually there proper.
Mm. And also, there's some of the numbers over on that left-hand side of the census. They're going to be the household, the schedule number, so that the enumerator knows, okay, this is it's household number 17 on his list, but it's not actually, they're not living at number 17. All that, yes,
Right.
yeah, that's where there's extra numbers.
Extra challenge for
But
remembering.
those columns help us out. So, what about have you tackled any pre-1858 wills yet?
Not wills, no.
Oh.
Are they interesting?
They're really, I would say, I would be interested what anyone listening thinks. because I think wills is probably the first collection where most of us suddenly get a style of handwriting that we think, oh heck, I literally don't even know which way up to hold this piece of paper. It's so complicated.
Right.
But it's one of the most fun, and it is challenging, but it's one of the most fun ones because it's quite formulaic. So after a little bit, you can teach yourself a few little hacks, and then you can actually enable yourself to get information out of it. And so you feel really pleased, like you're cracking a puzzle.
Yeah, that does sound good. I mean, I think I've said to you before, I have got a bit struggly, or a bit nervous about like the 1851 and the 1841 censuses because they are just like handwritten scroll almost. So God knows what those wills are like.
Well, the wills, in a way, so the 1841 is really tricky because it's written in pencil, so it's very faint. Yeah.
Mm.
So that makes that quite hard. Whereas the wills are written in ink, but it's just in a completely different style of handwriting. We're gonna have to. We'll dig one out, and you can have a look at it. And it's one of those things when you stare at it, you think you can't read it, and then after a bit, you do get your eye on. So, do you feel? Do you feel tempted to learn like go out of your way to learn about old handwriting, or you feel that you've got enough on your plate and you're just gonna gradually gather information as you go?
If I'm honest, I do feel like I've got enough on my plate to be
Mm,
going with.
mm,
But like I said, for the 1841 and the 1851, it does scare me. So it probably is a good skill to learn and look out for. Just
mm,
to be able to note like common letters that get mistaken. And 'cause
mm,
I've seen examples, haven't I, already, where I had like Taylor coming up as, was it jailer? I think it was.
mm,
Oh, so it's like J's and S's, and then I've obviously got this Savile and Laville. So learning elements of that obviously is going to help you, isn't it? Progress backwards.
mm, mm. So anybody does feel like they want to give it a go and take one of these free courses, then if you go to the National Archives website and then, or Google the National Archives UK and then the palaeography course, then you'll be able to find their free online course and you can just learn at your own pace. It's pretty in depth, really well worth doing. And then there's Scottish handwriting as well. I think that's by the National Records of Scotland. Again, it's a free resource, which is incredible. And the Scottish one's actually quite funny. It's kind of got some light-hearted little jokes in it, which is good because quite often family history is a bit sad. Yeah.
Or dry, yeah.
Sad or dry. So that's good fun to do. And then what else is really good? Or people say like starting to keep your own notebook, and then when you find letter forms, literally write the letter forms because they help. If you do something yourself manually, it helps to drum it in your head.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
great. It's great that there's free courses out there.
It's really good, isn't it? And they've been around for years, and they are excellent. And I think because they're free and they're available all the time, it can be one of those things you think, oh, well, I'll do that soon, but it doesn't have that kind of urgency that you've got to sign up by the 1st of January or anything. But yeah, it's a good winter project to do.
Yeah.
I've done them before. I think I'm going to do them again though, just to kind of get refresh.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't feel like I'm in a position where I yet need to delve too deeply into that, but I can see that becoming really useful as I get more and more into it. So definitely something for me to go and do.
We just went to print the other day, and there was a fantastic news story in there, and it's kind of irrelevant to most British family historians, but or English-speaking family historians, but it's kind of so cool. I included it, and it's Vilnius University in I think it's Lithuania, and they've developed this new AI tool, and I can't remember the name of the researcher, unfortunately, but it's in the magazine, and it can AI transcribe Yiddish texts, and what they used is autobiographies which were written in the 1930s. So these people who potentially during that time, life is getting more and more difficult if you were a Jew in Europe, wasn't it? And so partly these texts are precious in their own right, partly they hadn't been transcribed before, and now there's this AI tool which can transcribe them, so make the content within them accessible to all of us. Because even it's not just it's the time period that's nearly a century ago, isn't it? And handwriting changing, people not knowing the language. So I'm so excited about that potential because you think, well, that's good just in its own right, and all the other ways that AI is increasingly getting used to help us is good. I'm not a massive fan of AI, but there's some things you think, thank you, you're very helpful.
Yeah, well, if it's opening up a world of knowledge that we wouldn't be able to have access to, then that's brilliant, isn't it? Something that would take like researchers years and years and years to actually be able to get through. It is terrifying as AI, but yeah, it does have its uses.
Have you tried on Ancestry? Have you tried their transcribe tool?
No.
So that's fun. It's annoying me a little bit at the moment, but it's fun. So if you just go into the memories bit when you log into Ancestry, so you've got all your documents, census documents, and everything else you've got there, or any documents you've uploaded. Yeah. And just choose one of them. And what happens with me is some of them, a little transcribe button will come up, so I can click that and it will transcribe it over on the right-hand side, which is brilliant. Yeah. And it used to be pretty good. And even if it's not perfect, to be honest, my transcription wouldn't be perfect either. And it's much easier to see someone else's transcript, go through the work again and go, oh, actually, this is wrong, that's wrong, and tweak it out rather than have starting from scratch. And so because of this, I thought, excellent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scan in my grandpa's logbook and then get it to transcribe it. But it's refusing to transcribe it at the moment.
Right.
But I think that will change in the future. I think it will be able to take in more different document types or more different hands.
It's always learning, isn't it? Yeah. That would be cool.
It is really cool.
You're giving me more little tasks though now.
Kind of, but it's so quick. It's
thinking about my Albert Hearn, who I've got obviously all the letters from the government saying he's died.
So that would be interesting whether it works on that. Yeah.
But I haven't uploaded anything. I've not uploaded any paper documents. But I feel I should now.
It's so easy. Literally, all you could do is if you've got these paper documents from your mum's chest.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how easy it is. Get your phone, and you can either just take photos of them and then upload them from your gallery to Ancestry. So then you take the photos, go to Ancestry, go to your memories, click Add Memories, and add them up that way. Or you can go to, with your phone, go to your memories, go to the pile of paper and just go scan or photograph right away using the Ancestry internal scanning app. So either which way is a good option. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
That easy. Yeah. And then you could see whether they'll transcribe it.
Yeah.
And what I found, I couldn't find it could be me, but I couldn't find the transcribe button when I was on the app. So then I had to use my laptop and go to Ancestry, go to memories, look at the documents on there. And that's where sometimes they had the transcribe buttons on, as they didn't.
Okay. Well, that'd be a cool test. 'Cause I'm feeling like, I think I mentioned it the other week, a bit of guilt about like this Albert, he doesn't have the proper information on Ancestry about his death, and like that's why people are getting confused and marrying him off. And I've got these documents that need sharing, so
you really do, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, I think you could do it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe you could even time yourself.
Maybe I'll set that as my homework task.
Yeah.
Give Albert his attention that he needs.
Yes. I don't you think as well, like not just in family history, but in life, quite often we'll have a little job which we mean to do for a long time, and we think it's going to be a really massive time-consuming thing, and it keeps like nagging at us. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, it only took 2 minutes. Why didn't I do that before?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of thinking about things like this recently. It is like the small jobs that all add up to being small jobs, but together make too big a job that you can't do anything. I was reading about mind dumping the other day, and
Yeah.
I think that it ties in quite well with like family history, because obviously we've got a lot on our minds about who we're looking at and where we're looking at, and it's just like said, once a week, just mind dump everything in your head onto a piece of paper as long as you want. And then if from this mind dump you get a list, look at that list and cross out 75% of the list, so you're left with the top 25% and do them. And then if next week you do a mind dump and some of the things you crossed out are still appearing on your list, maybe they get elevated into your top 25. It just seemed like a really interesting way just to clear clutter from your brain, because I know my brain's overloaded. And then when you get into family history, obviously, as we always mention, research logs, etc., there's so much information to retain and keep. Just to focus your brain a little bit. Interesting
and really useful and essential, because otherwise in anything with life or family history, if you're on overwhelm and there's too many things batting around, it's a bit demoralizing, isn't it?
It is. I think the article I was reading was largely about mental health as well. It was saying it's good for you, just don't get overwhelmed, just let's get everything out of your head and just take it all steadily and calmly and just wipe out the clutter, which obviously we can create a lot of clutter. I mean, we call them rabbit holes, don't we, for family history? And it's quite easy to do. I'm going to give it a go anyway, see what happens.
Oh, yeah, keep me posted.
I will. But yeah, shall I tell you a little bit about my current research?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
It's not particularly good. Oh, I'm not saying it's not particularly good. I've struggled to get back into this. You know, having said, all right, I got lost in lots of rabbit holes. I want to focus. I want to get my third generation, my third great grandparents all ticked off. So I'm at a level. And coming back in and looking for the hard facts, I was like, right, I'm not going to mess about with siblings. I'm just going to do hard facts. I'm going to go boom, boom, boom and get back. And as you've mentioned just earlier, I don't think I'd mentioned the name Savile before. So it's a line that you're not familiar with because I've not spoken about it. And equally, I've clearly not looked at it to talk about it. So it's all new names, it's all new documents, new people. And it was terrifying to actually get back to thinking, right, I'm just looking for facts, because I instantly wanted to do my little timelines and write my lists and go to the siblings. And I couldn't willingly let myself just go, yes, that's him, yes, that's him, yes, that's it. You know, I couldn't be slapdash about it, even though it looked all linked. And I actually found it a bit daunting to get back into the mindset of looking through the documents again. And equally, contradicting myself, I've learned I can't just dismiss the siblings because they're the connections, they're what tie people together. So I've got to take everybody into account and not rush it, because obviously that's not who I am. So
I'm so pleased to hear you say that you can't ignore the siblings, just because for every reason under the sun, they're just so important. If not everyone has siblings, but
no,
if you do have siblings, they're the people your ancestors grew up with. They feature on each other's records sometimes. They're useful as corroborative evidence, aren't they?
they are. Well, I couldn't get back without them. But on this line again, it was just like the initial panic, and I'm fine now. But it was suddenly brothers and sisters that had appeared roughly on the list when I've initially gone for the second great grandparents, but names that I've forgotten or not even thought about. But they're what ties them to my third great grandparents, because they then appear on the censuses, and that's what the link is. And then I can match the names and the ages and say, is that the right persons? Yes, it is. It's 10 years later, and they're the same people in the same house, etc. It was weird. It felt like starting again almost.
I think it is. Whenever I go onto a new bit of family that I'm not familiar with them, it does feel, you do feel pretty uncertain, even if you have kind of not a proper checklist, but you have a kind of, well, some people might have a proper checklist, but you know roughly what you're doing, but you still don't have that confidence because you just don't have a feel for the family. So any piece of information about them, you're like, well, it's possible. They might live here. They might have children called this, and you have to kind of feel your way. You feel that you have to be extra careful, don't you?
Yeah, I think that was it. I just had that urge to want to rush backwards and get myself going, but you can't. You've got to take it stage by stage, person by person, be as methodical as you can. Well, I do. Need to be as methodical as I can be to make it calm and feel right and concrete. But I'm instantly having fun with it.
Good. Yeah. Nosy question. Did you look at other people's trees and their hints? This is me and my bandwagon. I'm just curious. I don't mind if you did or you didn't. I'm just interested.
I did, but only because there was a picture.
Oh yeah.
George Calder Savile, who was born in 1842, there was a picture of him as an old man, and it came up, and I was like, oh, wow. Because obviously I don't have any pictures yet, which is, again, another rabbit hole that I've not done, even though I said I wanted to. So the fact there's a picture, I clicked on and looked at this other person's tree, and like 7 other people have put this picture on their tree. But to be honest, I tried not to look too much at their trees. I will do once I've sort of found myself a bit more comfortable with the brothers and sisters and children, just so to see if my findings match with theirs. But I don't really want to be influenced by their trees just yet. If I find I'm getting stuck or confused, I might have a nosy. But if I'm linking things naturally, I feel like I should just stick with my own thoughts, which is maybe right, maybe wrong. I don't know.
Oh, I think that seems a good tactic. Yeah, I liked it.
But yeah, it was cool to see a picture though.
Really cool. So what does the picture look like?
He's quite an old man with a big white beard. Looks quite stately. It's really cool. And I want to add it to my tree, but I'm gonna wait and see. I mean, chances are it probably is right, but I want to wait and see that everything else matches up.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things I found with this family as well is they have given all the children have a middle name, which is either Corliss or Sharp. So, and that's like both the boys and the girls. So like I've got like Thomas Corliss, and then there's an Anne Corliss, but then there might be like a Frederick Sharp, and I'm making a name, Maggie Sharp, and George, who is my third great grandparent. How would I normally say that? I'm looking at Ancestry, and that's why I keep saying third great grandparent.
What would you normally say then?
I'd say my great 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 granddad.
Yeah.
Is that right? Great 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 granddad. Anyway, so yeah, they've all got these names, and his wife is Mary Sharp, so that's where the Sharp came from. So any child with a Sharp in, I mean, they're all his and her child, but they must have alternated, like choosing. But the Corliss comes then from George's mum,
Interesting.
who I haven't actually put on my tree yet, but there's a hint saying there's a woman called Anne Corliss who married, well, William Le Saville or whatever, William Laville. So he's taking his mum's maiden name as the kid's middle name.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. It's a nice tie, and it also makes it a lot easier to find all these people because
Definitely.
there's this
It's
link
so
coming through.
interesting that they both decided to do that with the mother's maiden names. I wonder like what the motivation was, whether those women only had sisters and they were worried the surname would completely die out, or whether they just wanted to kind of honor their mum and
Yeah, keeping it alive. It's nice, isn't it? Actually, I really like the idea. Like, I've got nothing against double-barreled names, but I actually quite like the fact that they make the surname a universal middle name. It's quite cool.
I messed up because I've got one of my middle names is a surname which has got handed down through the family, but then my generation is the last generation with it, because when I had my children, I got two brothers, and I thought they would do that. I thought they were going to pass on the middle name surname. Didn't ask them about it, just assumed that they would pass it on. Anyway, the surname is not being passed on by X.
Right. A simple conversation could have been had.
It could have been, couldn't it? Yeah. And it's a very cool, weird name. It's Dwerry House. I mean, what a weird name.
That is a cool name. That must provide a lot of problems on the
It does.
searches.
Yeah, it ends in a brick wall. Yeah. Like that's I don't go back very far with it. I go back to the middle 1800s. And I think it's because I think my ancestor on that line, I think he might have been illegitimate, and I think he made up a dad on his marriage certificate. So means, and I think he might have even made up his own surname on his marriage certificate, because I just can't find him.
Oh my word!
Back before, so I'm just stuck.
That sounds really stressful. I mean, what do you do in that scenario if something's so made up?
You tell me, I've been stuck on this for decades.
There's no accounting for that, is there? I can't find this record. Yeah, because he's a made-up person.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is a bit annoying, isn't it?
Oh my.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, it's kind of understandable, because it's an era where you are going to want to make up details because people were so judgy. But then from my point of view, it's like, whew. But I mean, there are lots of things I could do. I could try harder. I haven't done all the things that I know I could do. So I say I'm stuck, but actually what I've done is I've tried a bit, known what I could do, thought, oh, that's a bit hard, I'll get on with something else in the meantime. So all I've done is, so it's in Lancashire, and there's the online Parish Clerk website, which is a free website with loads of amazing transcriptions, key records for Lancashire ancestors. I've tried lots of different search variations. I've tried searching without his surname. I've tried searching for the details he gives for his father and haven't managed to find his father. And I've tried that sort of thing, but I haven't actually branched out into loads of other records. So probably what I need to do is I need to look for things like bastardy bonds, and I need to look for other records which might show evidence of who the father is. And I feel like I'm just on the edge of DNA by how many generations, because it's not that far back in time. But our family we're all like in our mid-20s and we have children. Obviously, you can't have all your children in your mid-20s if you're having children over 10 years, but there's lots of short generations. So that's quite, I can't remember how many, I could quickly check how many grandfathers he is, but he's right on the edge of autosomal DNA being useful. And that branch, I haven't even got more recent people, the earlier the generations closer in time to me. So
yeah, that's a tricky balance of everything, that, isn't it?
yes. So I think I need to I don't want to promise I'm going to find it because I've got so many things on my wish list. What this podcast told me is how many half-baked research rabbit holes I go down and how many things I don't finish. And I feel more than a little ashamed about it. And I think that's got to be my thing for next year. Even if it takes me 8 weeks to finish something or however long, I just need to stick with something till I finished it. And I'm not allowed to move on to anything else, no flights of fancy or whatever, till I've actually accomplished something.
Okay, I mean, I won't hold you. I'm not going to hold you to that, because that is harder than anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's far too easy. You say one thing to me when I'm doing something else, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and add documents to this one person who's now in the distant memory from where I was researching. It's too hard. I know I said I was going to do it for last week, and I did do it, but we didn't really talk about it. But I went through my research log and looked at all of my rabbit holes that I've not done. I'm calling them rabbit holes, just tasks that I just said I was interested in doing and didn't do.
Mm-hmm. Give us a flavour then.
I'll read them to you. So the first one, which was a very early one, was add photographs of people. So in my naivety, I thought I'd be able to just add loads of pictures of people. But obviously, you've only got your family photo albums to go by, and they don't go back that many generations when it comes down to it, do they? So that hasn't happened in any shape, form, or way, even for like generations of people that I actually know and have seen. So there's that. There's this is quite a cool one actually. I don't know if you remember me saying, but I got told that one of my ancestors worked on the Concorde.
Oh, that does ring a bell actually, yeah.
I never researched that. I do want to do that one. Like I've said many times, I love aeroplanes, so that would be really cool. Then now we get a bit namey now on my list, so most of this won't make any sense. But apparently, Winifred Booth has stepchildren. Research this. I haven't. Mabel Ward, she went to Canada. We've mentioned that one before. I need to do the Canada immigration thing. I've got someone called Clifford who died at 18. I don't know his death details. I'm meant to research that. Who is Esther Ibbins?
I love that question.
That's all it says. It's on the research log. Who is she? I haven't written a note as to what document I found her in. I'm just making it harder. And equally, who is Herbert Ryder? So there you go. Just a few weird things that are on my research log that make no sense that I need to do. Yeah.
But you've got I think your plan, you're getting all of your great grandparents. I think that's a much cooler plan. That's a decisive, concrete plan.
It is a plan, but I see why it keeps on stumbling every time I try and do this, because you get involved, don't you? Like now I'm like, oh yeah, I've got people called callers and I can see that link. So I already know that there's this woman called Anne Corliss. So I've got the link of the name Corliss. I could go back another generation and then I'm going to get lost in their families. It's like, do I actually willingly stop myself and say, right, I've got back to this third great grandparent. Let's go to the next line and do that and match it. Or do I think while I'm in that mode, whilst I'm in these people's lives, I keep that train of thought alive and get as much as I can, which I think sensibly speaking, I probably should. But that's what always ends up with me not getting far back as I want to do, or doing the task that I originally set out to do.
In the scheme of things, I think your plan to stick with the line that you're on and go, okay, so my overall plan from now through 2026, and I want to get all my great grandparents. But when you're in the flow and you're in that family, you're in that community, you're finding them, you're finding the siblings, you've got the hint to who the granny is. So that's the next generation back and all that sort of stuff. I think it's a bad use of energy to stop that flow, because when we're researching, however much we write all that stuff down in our research logs, we're holding like a really precious bubble of information, aren't we?
Yeah.
And all those facts, as we sitting down for a research session, are all in our heads. And we're very fluent in them. We can hold them all. We can hold the trains of thought, and it just seems a waste of energy to not do that, not to capitalize on that bubble of thought and fill it out as wide ways and backwards as you can in that aspect of your tree. So I think you're right to do that. And then once could be even when you've just finished that research session, or even that research session might just literally be like an hour or 2 hours, or it might be something which lasts for a few weeks. But either which way, you're still going to have that bubble of thought mentality that you're in the flow with those people. And then once the bubble's kind of coming a bit tricky, a bit like slow, it's not so obvious, that would be a point where you could go in your research log. I've got up to this point. I'm getting stuck on here. I'm going to park it for the moment. Next time I'm going to do this with it. Move on to your next set of 2 times great grandparents to find your 3 times great grandparents off the back of them. I think you're right to do that. That's what you want to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is the way to go, because these names are like now flowing in my mind, and I recognize the siblings, and then you're seeing the links. Whereas if I stop at this point, I've got these guys, and then go off to somebody else, I'm going to have to come back and relearn all those names, even though it's not necessarily hard, but it's more of a pause, and it's not straight away. It is interesting. I'm trying not to like look at too many details as well, which also feels weird. So obviously I'm getting all the siblings, I'm getting the links, I'm getting the names, but I'm not getting involved in, oh, they died young, how did they die, or what was going on. I'm not taking in any time frames of the details, which I think should help me make this a quicker process, but I'm still trying to be meticulous, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And I think that also is a really good explanation of like that's the tree building phase, isn't it? Like when we're in tree building mode, and by doing what you're doing, you're being meticulous, but you're keeping focused. You're like, my goal at the moment is building my tree out more. So you're sticking to the plan. That's great. And then that's why when we come back to any document, really simple documents or complicated documents, and we go, how did I never notice this before? It's because our brain wasn't looking at the information in that way. And so then we come back to it in storytelling mode, or finding out more facts mode and things, don't we?
I think one thing that does scare me is that I might miss an interesting story.
Well, you won't, because the details are there.
Yeah. It's just going back to them, isn't it? It's like the brothers and the sisters that aren't on my direct line, I have to actively go and look at again at some point and find these mysteries, or find the stories. And I worry that in the way that I'm doing things, I'm actually giving myself an opportunity to miss those stories and then not come back to them. So I can't remember, I've got about 200 people on my tree now, and obviously you could whittle it down to, I don't know, what, 50, 60 people that are on the main line. I can't really get the maths there. But I guess it's allowing yourself to go back and do that. Or I guess it's finding my way back to do that. People that I've really sort of done the deep dives on have all happened because I've had a story to look at, or a little mystery to draw me in, or a divorce or a death. Whereas at this stage, I know, like Thomas Corliss Saville, he has lots and lots of brothers and sisters, like a ridiculous amount. And I've got lots of them on there, and they're all crossing over on the census, which is brilliant. It's helping me stack them all together, get back to the parents and then the grandparents. But I'm just worried that there's like really cool stories I'm going to miss, or I won't come back to these people because they're a side shoot. How do you make yourself come back if you don't know there's a story there? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I guess you have to come back, and you may or may not find the story. And what Michelle Leonard does, so we, for a few years, we haven't run it recently, but we've run this really cool course called the DNA Bootcamp, and we did this wonderful DNA workbook, and you still get the DNA workbook. So it's a great workbook. This is relevant to what you're talking about, so don't panic me mentioning the word DNA. So with the DNA workbook, it has an Excel file called the DNA Workbook Excel Resources file, which is such a clunky name. But what it is, it's an Excel file, and in there it has lots of useful lists and logs And one of those is precisely for the purpose that you're talking about. And it has columns going, have I researched these guys, these direct ancestors' siblings? And it has it for all the different generations. So you can literally make notes to yourself about what you have or haven't found for all of these side branches. So you don't have to use that resource. If anyone has a copy of the DNA workbook, if you don't have the resources file, you just email me. So just email helen.t@family-tree.co.uk and I send it to you. Is that the opposite of AI? It's not automated at all. It's me emailing it to you, but the system works fine. So you can either do that or you can just make up your own list to keep a record. But there isn't. So on your research log, you can make a note to yourself that you want to come back and try and find these siblings. And also with the stories, like somebody's version of a story is not somebody else's version of a story. So you love aeroplanes. So anyone with an aeroplane connection, you're going to be all over them, even if they're your 2 times great aunt's husband. So not a blood relation, you'll still be like, I need to find this out. Whereas I would be interested in different stories.
Yeah, that's true. It's just having a hint of a reason, isn't it?
Yes.
But I like I found with I guess George Horatio, I'm backing up my own claims now. I researched him and found out a lot more about the people around him, and that got me even more stories because you just get so involved, don't you? It's just an interesting process. The 2 different brains of wanting to be focused and going back and wanting to get lost in the stories. And though they kind of work hand in hand, they're sort of conflicted with each other as well. If I put my brain into the mode that I'm in at the moment, I can't see me finding stories. But when I love the stories, I do. That's probably when I actually do probably better research because I flesh the people out more.
Yes, you do. You do more in-depth research. But the other research is essentially you won't be able to build those stories unless you've done that tree building.
Yeah.
And don't you think that's maybe why family history just is one of those hobbies? You and someone who doesn't do family history goes, "Oh, have you finished yet? Why do you want to do that?" Because it's such a complex hobby that you can, like, you've used it as an excuse to go on a run. You've used it all these. You have your puzzle solving bits in your head, just the general history learning bit of your head. There's so many different aspects to it to make it interesting.
It is, yeah. Rounding me out as a person.
Yeah, make us more compassionate about other people. Like nobody's just a statistic. Everybody's a complex situation.
Definitely. I'm learning about the world as well and everything around us and around them. Things that you just take for granted or don't even think about.
So I think you're doing amazingly. Welcome to your 2nd year of family history.
Thank you.
So shall we wrap up now? And I haven't made any bold promises what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and be more considered for this year and not be so flippity gibbet. My rough plan.
Flippity gibbet.
No more flippity gibbet for me. That's my goal.
That's your concise goal. Flippity gibbet.
Goal. Yes, it doesn't sound very promising, does it?
Sounds perfect.
No, it's not even like no more flippity gibbet. It's like I'm going to try not to be so flippity gibbet. That's even weaker. Pathetic.
Well, we all know better anyway.
Yeah. What are you going to do then?
I'm going to carry on with my organised searching. It's obviously we've just been talking about it, but I do feel a bit like I want to stop, but I don't want to stop. So I'm going to carry on with the Savile line, see where that takes me. I am getting close to like the early 1800s, so I feel like that's when it's going to be tricky anyway. So at that point, maybe that's when I'll go back and find a different 3rd great grandparent. Make some notes in my research log if I see anything interesting, and keep going with that.
Well, I love that. So some point through 2026, this is what my guesstimate is. You're going to get to a point in the paper trail records where you go, ooh, these are a bit tricky. You go, I think now's the time I turn to my DNA and look at that because that will seem like the easier option. That would be funny.
Well, I do actually think in my head that's how I have sort of compartmentalized it. And I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not actually scared of DNA. And I know I'll probably get told off this, I just don't feel like I have a natural use for it at the moment when I can be doing all this paper trail stuff, which is what I enjoy doing. And I know they go hand in hand, etc. And yes, people can tell me off, But I have compartmentalized the two. It's like when I get to a point where I'm stuck, I feel like that's when I'm going to want to be like, right, let's give DNA a go and let's see what I can get from that. So we'll see. Let's find out in 6 months' time.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Okay, well, thanks for listening then, everybody. And if you want to get our free e-newsletter, which is full of lots of useful information. For instance, there's an e-newsletter which is going out pretty much around the same time as this podcast, which has lots of handy hints about reading old handwriting, which is a topic we started off with at the beginning and touched on a little bit at the start of the conversation. And to sign up to our free e-newsletter, you just go to www.family-tree.co.uk/newsletter-sign-up, and it comes out at least once a week on a Monday, and occasionally we send other ones if you have particularly cool events happening or offers and things like that. But it's not loads, so don't panic.
Lovely.
Bye then.
See you later.